Are you here today?
I'm here today in support of the Bolivian people
Yep.
and the government. Yes, against flagrant violation of the United States
Yep.
imperialists and its allies.
Good. Lovely. Thank you. Are you here today? Why are you here?
Why am I here?
Yeah.
I'm here today because I'm South American, I'm from Colombia, and knowing the history of our region, the history of imperialism in our region, I believe that as a Colombian I have to defend Venezuela, I have to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, and I think the government of Maduro is doing a good job.
He's doing a fantastic job.
He's doing a fantastic job at, first of all, providing the basic necessities that the people need, and second of all, defending Venezuela from imperialist aggression. And since he's isolated because of the countries in South America, all most, surrounding him anyway, are right wing. It's very difficult for him, but even though it's difficult, he has been able to maintain the support of the people. So.
Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Carlos Cruz.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hey, camera.
Why are you here?
I'm here to protest.
I'm not protesting because you believe in the coup or you are against the coup.
Well, that would be really unfortunate. Oh my God, I'm at the wrong protest. No.
Oh, no.
Well, no. I mean, the Bank of England have just is it 1.2 billion of their money or something like that. It's insane.
Sitting in there.
It's a silent situation. Well, not many people know about it, and it's letting you know how much more effective our media has got in the last 20, 30, nearly 40 years, I suppose, at keeping things quiet. And that's before we blame reality TV. It's kind of like, our BBC is like the British bias corporation. I mean, we saw a few years ago how they were dick riding like UKIP and how to give too much airtime to like right-wing, no swearing people like Nigel Farage and Tom Roberts, all that, and it's like, and obviously, and it's the Venezuela thing, like they're just very quiet on a lot of important issues.
Yeah.
So now it's protests or relying on the internet and stuff. Like, it's alarming because again, there's not many people here. Because
I'm surprised there's not more people.
They've got, I mean, again, but it was a bit like with when all the Chavez stuff, like 14, 15 years ago, like not many people knew about it. They thought the mainstream media, like, yeah, Chavez is bad. So like, Chavez is bad. Well, actually, if you meet anyone from Venezuela, which I used back then, it's like, so what's it like? So, actually, we really like Chavez. Like, your media's kind of lying. It's the same thing with like.
As they're lying now.
Yeah. So that's
what's your name?
Ash.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, pleased to meet you, man.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Poi non sapeva più che cazzo dire. No, era
That's what he said. Yes, the first. I mean,
Nina was also she commented that when I was joining me as well with the thing.
That was reversed and we did provide protection. So Chavez was quite friendly when he turned up. But the legacy of his protection is the fact that he gave City Hall £14 million so that we could cut fares by 50% for people on benefits. And it was Maduro was the minister responsible for negotiating and dealing with me and my staff to actually deliver that. I have not seen a single one of these things mentioned anywhere in our media in the months and months of hostility that we're seeing. But I think also we need to look at the current situation. We're told Venezuela's economy is in a mess because Maduro is no good as a president. There's two key factors that have damaged the Venezuelan economy. One is the collapse of oil prices, and don't forget, Venezuela has the largest oil reserves of any nation on the face of the planet. It's bound to have a huge impact. But then you have to ask, what has the American government been doing to undermine their economy? With illegal sanctions. And it's not just Venezuela. America's sanctions against Iran, Nicaragua, all of these are illegal under international law. So why don't our government stand up to them? They are absolutely bloody appalling. But the simple fact is that when he came to power, he increased the taxes on the oil companies, BP, Shell and Exxon. He raised the taxes from 16% to 30%. Hardly revolution. I mean, not like the good old days of the Attlee government where the richest were paying 98% bloody tax. But immediately we had the situation where the Assistant Secretary of State, the USA, Otto Reich, had a secret meeting with Venezuelan billionaires. And in the weeks that followed, you had 2002, the military coup that actually looked as though it was going to overturn everything Chavez had done. But the interesting thing about that is the military were worried the coup might not stand and it might be overturned. And so they didn't kill Chavez. But what happened? 3 Americans, presumably from the CIA, were flown into Venezuela to kill Chavez. I know this because he told me about it personally as we were having a nice cup of coffee after our financial deal. And he was confined to a room where an army sergeant who was armed was controlling him, in charge. As the 3 Americans walked into that room, that sergeant realised they weren't just going to kill Chavez. They'd most probably kill him because they didn't want a witness to this assassination. And so he turned his gun towards the 3 and said, "Leave the room or I'm going to kill you." Without that sergeant, Chavez would have been murdered by America. And don't believe for one minute this was just rogue elements. I'm certain that was authorised by President Bush at that time. And it's not new. 8 American presidents authorised the murder of Fidel Castro. And bizarrely, the CIA actually were liaising with the mafia to help organise those assassinations. I could go up all day just working my way through the 60 instances since the end of the Second World War where America's intervened to overthrow governments it didn't like. And America talks about we're fighting for democracy. No, almost all of them, democratically elected governments, like Iran in 1953, overthrown by an American-backed coup, and Haiti, and all across the world this has gone on. It's never been about democracy, it's been about America being able to continue to rip off the economy of the world, its giant corporations making hundreds of billions, whilst around the world people live trapped in poverty. That's what Chavez and Maduro are fighting for. That's why we should stand with them. And that's why the British government should do nothing to comply with America's sanctions. And no Bank of England should be doing anything to undermine the Venezuelan economy. Shame on our bloody bank. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Thank you. We're next going to have...
Estamos aquí por una causa, defendiendo al pueblo venezolano. No vamos a permitir las injusticias que nos están haciendo los americanos.
We're here in defense of the Venezuelan
people of the Venezuelan government, we're not going to accept this injustice by USA, by the Bank of England, by the government of Theresa May.
Como representante de la Asociación MERU, organización que hemos organizado aquí, estamos para luchar, para decirle que al pueblo venezolano que no está solo, estamos los latinos con ustedes.
Here, I'm a representative of MERU, the Ecuadorian movement in London, and we want to tell the Venezuelan people, you are not alone. We're here supporting you every single day.
Esto solo es el comienzo. La lucha continúa y nosotros defenderemos al gobierno actual, a ese gobierno que ha luchado por el pueblo venezolano.
This is just the beginning of this struggle. We will be here every single day, and we will defend the government elected by the people in Venezuela, the government of Nicolás Maduro.
Nicolás Maduro, un hombre de trabajo, un hombre de lucha, lo vamos a defender como sea y no vamos a permitir que ni Inglaterra ni los yanquis amenacen al pueblo venezolano.
We're going to defend the Venezuelan government and the Venezuelan people against the plans of the Americans, the Trump and May, against this government, against the Bank of England, against everybody. Venezuela is not alone.
Somos gente de lucha. Como dijo una vez Ernesto Che Guevara, Latinoamérica jamás será destruida.
As Che Guevara said, Latin America will never be destroyed. We will prevail.
Como representante del Ecuador, quiero decirle, hasta la victoria siempre, compañeros.
Hasta la victoria siempre.
Thank you very much. Just to let you know, the Venezuela Solidarity Campaign only exists because of good people like you becoming members. This demonstration costs money. There are buckets going around today, so please do give generously so that we can keep on putting events like this and making sure that we are able to keep doing good work like this. There are also two hashtags that we would like you to basically tweet on, which is hashtag #NoAmerica, Mayor from Stop the War to come, and Augustus, please give him a warm
ransom, starving and terrorizing the Venezuelan people, backed up by this terrible threat of military intervention. And let's not forget that America is still the most powerful military country in the world. And let's be clear, military intervention is illegal under international law. There's no military threat to the US, and there's no military threat to Britain. The real threat is to the Venezuelan people, who would be an absolute bloodbath in an already very, very dangerous situation. Now, the traitorous Labour splitters have cited Venezuela as reason to split from the party. But this is no surprise. It's no surprise also that the Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn has spoken out strongly against Trump's attempts at regime change in Venezuela. Corbyn's apology for the Iraq war in Parliament 2016 on behalf of the party, the Labour Party, which, as people may remember, was disgustingly heckled by one of these splitters in Austin. This was to fundamentally reset Labour's foreign policy. It sent a very, very clear message to the electorate that let the Labour Party, and that includes Venezuelan people, live in peace and security, and they have the right to self-determination. The US military intervention would be absolutely catastrophic and have ramifications across the world.
like this, we're going to finish up the event on the next half-time also as loud as you can. Let's make sure that we are going to have it for us, that we have no more Venezuela.
Like civil
No blood for oil! No
I'd like to start with a quick quote. If military force becomes necessary to disarm this nation, joined by others, we will act decisively in a just cause and we will prevail. That was George Bush on the 22nd of February 2003, almost 16 years to the day, just weeks before the invasion of Iraq. What we are witnessing now is the distinct possibility of history repeating itself. Under the Bush Cheney regime, Iran and Venezuela were top targets for military intervention, but the possibility of those interventions were taken off the cards following the tragedy that was the Iraq War. Now, the wolves have changed their clothing and they smell blood. One such wolf didn't even bother to change his clothing. Donald Trump's National Security Advisor, John Bolton. He was in the Pentagon then, and even after the punishing lessons of the Iraq War, he continues to be a frontline cheerleader for a regime change in Venezuela now. Well, our message is clear. We won't be dead, and we won't be fooled now. Since Iraq, we've seen further catastrophic interventions in Libya and Syria, and every time, Britain is a central player in the US coalition of chaos. The Tory Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt couldn't wait to get behind Guaido's puppet government, claiming that Venezuela is a country in chaos. Well, Mr. Hunt, I'd like to point you to a country that is truly in chaos. Yemen, a country where 85,000 children have died from disease and malnutrition since the Saudis began using British bombs to decimate the country in 2015. This week, Mr. Hunt took it upon himself to write to the German government to plead with them to end their suspension of arms sales to Saudi Arabia, and, as I quote, the reason was, I'm very concerned about the impact of the German government's decision on the British and European defence industry and the consequences for Europe's ability to fulfil its NATO commitments. We should not trust a word that leaves this foreign secretary Tom arms dealer's lips. No doubt he's keen to see the defence industry boosted by sales of bombs to drop on Venezuela. But we must not allow that to happen. We cannot let history repeat. As we stand against the war in Yemen, stop the war coalition, we'll stand against Western intervention in Venezuela, and we'll stand side by side with the Venezuela Solidarity Campaign to say we won't be done and we won't be fooled now. Hands up Venezuela. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maya. Great to have the support of Stop the War here today. We're next going to move to the person who you may have been fooled into thinking was Donald Trump here at the demonstration today. Obviously, we want to make sure our voices are heard, but it's actually Sophie Bull from Waltham Forest Momentum. Thank you very much.
Brilliant, thank you very much. So yeah, bring solidarity greetings from Waltham Forest Momentum. It's really fantastic to be here at this incredibly vibrant protest. For all those British politicians wringing their hands saying, why won't the Venezuelan government accept US aid? Why won't it accept Trump's help to alleviate the suffering of the people? I say, what planet are you living on? From the Colombian Red Cross, they say it's not humanitarian aid, even the Colombian Red Cross, because they say that this aid is being used as a bargaining chip to influence the political situation in the country. What more evidence do you need than that this is not about helping the Venezuelan people? It's a despicable PR exercise to try and make Trump look like he's not the bad guy, but he is the bad guy. We all know this. Everyone knows that Trump is the bad guy. It's the US sanctions that people have said that are starving, the main cause of why the Venezuelan people are starving and causing these medical shortages. And if Trump really cared about the Venezuelan people, he could just lift these sanctions. And if Theresa May really cared about the well-being of the Venezuelan people, she could stand up to Trump and give Venezuela back the $1.3 billion of its gold. That would make a massive difference to the Venezuelan economy and to the people of that country. Trump's economic policy is called America First for a very good reason. Yeah, he wants a leadership in Venezuela which will hand over the country's vast oil wealth to him and to all those companies that will benefit. And he is holding the country to
Isabel Cortés. Yo siempre la confundo, porque ellas siempre andan juntas en un
Son muy buenas, ahora.
Sí, sorry.